Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Eaststar Tarot, and today we're going to be doing another collective and timeless reading to see what our ancestors, spirit guides, and guardian angels would like to deliver to us as a message. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. Get the communication lines clear. And we're going to be bringing with us today, it's perfect, a celestite crystal. Very blue, like a throat chakra, right? Connecting us with the divine. So that's perfect today. And we have with us also our wolf totem as well to guide us through this reading. All right, and we're going to be asking today, in what ways wealth and abundance are coming towards us. So we're going to just be seeing how those things are making their way towards us, because there's many different routes that wealth and abundance can take to reach us, right? And abundance can come in many different forms. So we're going to see just what our guides would like to say about that. Oh, there we go. Science. This is an interesting one. Six of Swords. Yeah, Six of Swords. Usually that's about leaving a situation behind. So perhaps there's something very, because science is very precise and methodical. And so sometimes science it can be a little bit restrictive, but at the same time it can open us up to so many doors because it allows us to see things from a different perspective if we allow science to teach us without bias. It's interesting how it's really matching the celestite crystal, isn't it? I'm just going to see here. Yeah. And it's interesting that there's a cross on it, huh? For science, right? Because we don't typically associate religion with science, right? They're usually opposing forces, but maybe there's something about that for you that actually, like, there's something about spirituality and science coming together. Yeah. Let's get some more cards here just to see. Pleasure. Another six, huh? Six of Cups. That's very interesting. Got two sixes now. I think six is the number of the Lovers card, if I'm not mistaken. And I also think of Six of Wands and Six of... There's a lot of moving towards your own goals here. Now, let's get a couple more cards here. Just to... because sometimes the message gets clearer when I see all the cards together. Oh, there it goes. Disappointment, Five of Cups, okay. One more card here. I get the sense that you've had a lot of disappointments in the past. Maybe because the way that you were approaching wealth wasn't for you. Oh, that's interesting. Two cards came flying out together. Let's see what they are. Wheel of Fortune. Isn't that perfect? And they really flew out of there. They just took off. So maybe something with you is going to take off as well. Let's see if we can make some room here for all the cards. So Wheel of Fortune. Lust. Oh my gosh. Which is the Strength card just in the Thoth deck. It's called Lust. Okay, I think we'll just put things like this. Interesting. So I think for you, you're moving away from things that maybe were a bit restrictive for you. Because sometimes science can make things seem a little bit restrictive, right? It puts restriction on spirituality, on what can be, at the same time that it opens things up. Because sometimes science is a funny thing because it's supposed to be about exploring and questioning, but oftentimes we get an explanation and we decide to cling to that explanation without remembering that we're always supposed to question our own beliefs. And that kind of goes along with religion, doesn't it? Because, you know, in the same ways, we get really stuck on religious dogma and think that it's supposed to be one way. So I think there's something about belief here, about what can and cannot be. And I think you're moving away from that. You're moving away from that restriction of what can and cannot be. And instead pursuing what gives you pleasure, what gives you joy. Because I think before you restricted your own pleasure because you thought that equaled success. It was a negative program, a negative belief system about how you can have abundance was through the restriction of your own willfulness, like your own. Because some, like even in religion, right? There's this idea that, you know, you being well, what's the word? Being very disciplined, I guess, is a good way to describe it. Being very disciplined, being restricted from pleasure in a way, because you're supposed to focus more on your spiritual life, right? But I think things got a little twisted along the way to where there was like this self-flagellation of, you know, you're supposed to experience pain in order to be good. But that's actually not what worked out for you, because you have Five of Cups here, disappointment. That wasn't, you're realizing that that isn't the path for you. That isn't the way to your fortune. So your wealth is coming to you by you opening up your wealth and abundance, your sense of joy and fulfillment is actually coming from you moving away from that belief system where I have to suffer, I have to go without in order to have things. It's sort of a twisted mindset, right? Because like, you know, it can be something as small as like, well, I'll go without these things I enjoy because it'll save me money, and then eventually I can have enough money for all the things I want. But do you see how the thinking is kind of backwards? Because you turn yourself away from opportunities. And sometimes you have to have a little bit of risk taking, right? In order to make things happen for you. And sometimes there's new opportunities that come through following down a path that doesn't seem like it's going to be immediately profitable or immediately beneficial, right? Because sometimes we have to have trust and faith, and we have to follow a path that doesn't have any guarantees. Yeah, so sometimes it's not always, it doesn't look like what it, it's so funny. I'm thinking of that movie. Does anybody, maybe you've seen The Swan Princess? It was a movie in the 90s about this princess that gets turned into a swan, and the man she was supposed to marry goes on this journey to find her, and it's based off Swan Lake, the ballet. But it was, I think it might have been Don, I don't know if it was Don Bluth or, I'm trying to remember the company that did it, DreamWorks, but anyway, it doesn't really matter. They were just, there's some part of it where the prince had to slay this beast, and he could change his shape, and the king said to him, "It's not what it seems." And that was a key point for him in the movie, was to realize it's not what it seems. And I think that's for you. Like it's not the path to your happiness, the path to your wealth and abundance, all those things is not what it seems. It's not what you think it is. Because you were taught a different belief system where in order to have things, you have to give up what you love. You have to be sacrificing of yourself. You have to, work a job you hate in order to have things that, like a house or a car or whatever it is that you want. But you're unraveling that programming now to realize it's actually me following my joy and my pleasure that brings me the things I want. That's the key to my power. That's the key to my strength. Look, she's not getting her power and strength from resisting, from restricting herself from pleasure, essentially. She's actually getting it from leaning into that and using that as her power. That's the key to her fortune. And it's interesting that we have this divine figure, right? It's very almost pagan feeling versus this religious science view, which would have very much restricted the, divine feminine power, which is based in her sexuality, right? This is really interesting. Yeah. Especially paired with pleasure. There's something to that there. Yeah. You have divine power in leaning into that, in leaning into your, your sexuality even. I think there's something to that. Because that's all based in the sacral, right? There's a lot of orange going on here. The sacral is not just the basis of our sexuality, our sexual power, but it's also where we create. So if that gets blocked and restricted, it also blocks our ability to create and to build things, right? Because, creation is where we manifest. It's where we create everything in this world. So if you're restricting that, everything gets blocked up. So I think you're learning now. I think that's what's ending for you, though, because you're learning that and you're understanding that, oh, I can attract abundance by actually doing the things I want that make me happy. Not by running away from them and thinking I'm being bad for doing those things or whatever. It's actually what gives you strength. It's what gives you your power. Yeah. This is awesome. All right, let's see here. Now we're going to take archetypes. Some archetype cards here. So can we elaborate on this sacral energy that we're feeling here? Where it comes from, how we can use it. Oh. Kairos and the Temple. It's interesting. And then under that we have the Shaman. So there's something to this here. We have a Temple and a Shaman and Kairos. Kairos is all about divine timing, right? Which also matches with the Celestite, doesn't it? The color. I get the sense that you have divine power through this aspect of yourself that's been restricted for so long. They're saying actually one more card here, but which one? Yes. There's Siren on top here. Well, they're saying that's the card, so we'll go with it. Yeah, the Siren's that, sort of the archetypal energy of like this luring female, right? She lures people with her, especially men, with her song. But she also goes deep into the unknown, where others do not tend to go. Maybe it's sort of like you treat your body like a temple and it's has this divine energy to it, that it's like you attract in divine moments, divine timing. I get the feeling it's like you are exactly where you need to be at the right time in order to help others. It's sort of like this shaman character who goes where they're needed. You know, like they know where they're supposed to be at the right time. And I feel like that's how your abundance is going to work out. It's not going to be something that's planned or that you're going to execute or like anything methodical like that. It's all about attraction and magnetism. You leaning into that strength that you have within you to create the right timing and place. Be in the right time in the right place is what brings that power to you. Or what brings that opportunity to you. It's like your body is the temple, is what I keep feeling. Yeah, it's like you have divine energy within you. And it's not something where you can construct the right outcome. It's that you leaning into your intuition and divine power to know what is the right choice for you, to feel it. It's like you'll go somewhere one day and everything will just suddenly fall together. Like, and it won't be something that you plan. It'll be something that's like you go into the shop and you meet this certain person and they have this opportunity for you. Or you meet the right person that's like attracted to this energy that you have, like this, the sexual, this divine feminine energy, and it draws in the right people to help you or to bring you the things, the opportunities that you need to advance yourself or to just get to the right place where you need to be. It's like I don't think something like a typical job is meant for you. I think it's something where you kind of let the wind take you, if that makes sense. You let your heart guide you, like in Pocahontas. I love that movie, but like I like the advice of Grandmother Willow where she says, listen to your heart, or listen with your heart, and you'll understand. And I think that's the idea here, is that your fortune comes to you not through restriction and pain and suffering, but through your own pleasure, your own joy. When you're feeling and tapping into that energy that raises your magnetism, because it's your frequency raising with joy, right? And when you feel that joy and pleasure, suddenly you're 10 times more magnetic, because you're resonating with the universe and what the universe wants for you. The universe wants you to be happy. The universe wants you to be in that state of joy. And when you are, it's like, bam, you're in the right timeline. And you can be in the correct timeline to help others. Because getting shaman and temple here, I see you as like guiding others, helping others through being in the right place at the right time. Because it's like this eye, you see into something beyond. You see something that's like, that others don't. You see what's hidden from others' sights. Because you go deep into the unknown. You tap into that energy. Yeah, let's get... Okay. Very intense energy here. Yeah, okay. Let's get a butterfly card here. What are you helping others understand? What are you helping them? Let's see. Leaving. Okay. Yeah. You are leaving a different mode of thinking, a different way of understanding into a new one. But I think it's also that you help others to leave behind what no longer serves them. Because I think the way that you will move through this experience, this life experience, will be a strong influence for others. Helping others to see, hey, that's actually something that I feel as well. I don't feel like I resonate with this lifestyle of never giving to myself, never wanting to be in my energy of joy. I actually want to feel that. Oh, I'm going to put that there. Yeah, leaving behind the old ways. Also get a woodland warden. Porcupine and anemone boundaries. Yeah, both have the stinging quality to them, right? Porcupine punctures you with the needles, and the anemone stings, right? Except for the clownfish, of course, which is the only one the anemone likes. You have that symbiotic relationship. Yeah. So understanding our own boundaries is really key to feeling joy and pleasure, right? Because a lot of times we get taught, I think part of this mindset where you kind of teach yourself to go against your own inclination, because joy and pleasure, that's a guiding sign, right? When we feel that, it's our body communicating with us to let us know this feels right. This is what works with us. It's actually our body talking to us, right? It's like when you talk to someone and you don't feel right around them, like they make you feel sick to your stomach. That's your body telling you that there's something off about this person and they're not good for you. And we get taught to go against that instinct so much. And it comes from this as well, that notion that, oh, you should restrict yourself, you should hold back, you should hold yourself away from feeling joy. And I mean, discipline is good in some contexts, especially when you're someone that overindulges. But I think a lot of us get taught to go too far in the opposite direction, right? Going against what feels right. You're learning now that that doesn't work for you. And part of that learning is learning to set boundaries with people. Because when you set boundaries, suddenly you realize that you can have joy and it's okay. You realize that, oh, I just have to speak up for myself. And that's the key. It's not easy, especially if you're not used to it. Setting boundaries can be tough. But when you learn that and you master that, it makes it so that you can filter out the right people and experiences and give yourself what your body and your mind and your soul are really craving. And it's just so much better. It's what, your guides and the universe wants for you. They don't want you to be always pushing yourself to do things you don't want to do. That's how you work against yourself, your soul path, your spirit. It doesn't work. Trust me, I know. I used to say yes to all kinds of things I didn't like before, and I used to just think like I had to do those things for some reason. And to be honest, I'm not even sure why I thought that. Because you don't have to do anything you don't want to do in this life. It doesn't even work out when you do that. So there's no point. And when you talk to yourself, you talk to your soul and your body in this way, you create a stronger connection. And then suddenly you're really on top of your instincts. You know right away when something feels off and you listen to it. And that is so powerful because that will lead you down the right path if you follow that. And I think you have strong instincts. Like when you listen to your intuition, it guides you so much. It leads you on the right path. Yeah, you're leaving an old self behind. A self that did not listen to your own wants and needs. And that's the way that your pleasure and your wealth and abundance, I should say, which might actually be pleasure, right? It's kind of all in the same, right? Because the whole reason we want wealth, like money and things like that, and finances, is to feel pleasure in life, to feel joy in life, right? But there's many different ways to feel that without money. But that being said, I think it's great to have money. I think it's great to have those things, like the things you want, right? But I think there's many different ways to get there. And sometimes it's not about working the hardest. It's not. Sometimes it's about making things as easy as possible for yourself, right? And what makes work as easy as possible? Feeling joy and fun and pleasure. So if you're doing something that fills you with joy, it's not going to feel like work, right? But I think for you, it's also something where you can attract opportunities in a way that makes it seem like you got it easy. But it's not that you're pulling a trick or anything. It's that you're actually just leaning into feeling joy. Leaning into that magnetic energy. And sometimes that comes from not doing the thing that you're supposed to do. Sometimes that's about following your wants and needs, your pleasure, right? And that's not necessarily like all your wants and needs. It's more like what fills you with joy, what fills you with like that really like thinking Marie Kondo, sparks joy. What sparks joy? And when you follow that feeling, sometimes everything just works out in a very mysterious way, but it's like, yeah, everything gets done somehow without pushing yourself and hurting yourself or going without. It's kind of amazing when you tap into that energy of letting yourself receive. Yeah. Let's just get Luna Lapin cards to finish off here. Yeah. The moon. Yeah. I think this was something very mysterious and hidden from you before, but you're uncovering those aspects of yourself. You're seeing a different side of yourself. And this is also like, the moon, you think like feminine energy, right? There's a lot of feminine energy. And you could be a guy, and that doesn't matter. It's just, the feminine is all about receiving, right? Versus the masculine is about taking action and making things happen by your own means. But the feminine does it in their own way. It's just that they draw it in rather than seek it out, right? You might be someone that stares up at the moon as well. Like you receive energy from the moon. 7 of Wands, yeah. You're learning how, and this goes under the porcupine, which is very fitting, isn't it? You're learning how to defend yourself against energies that kind of want to take over that. Like they want to... The problem with being magnetic is that sometimes you draw in all the energies, which... Because others can see that, right? They can see that you have this special energy that draws in opportunity, draws in the right things. But sometimes others want to appropriate that for themselves, right? It's very frustrating. Because they like the feel of your energy. They can tell. They might not even realize what they're doing, but often they just, they want it. So sometimes that can draw in the wrong people and can give you some bad experiences, which might bring in this sort of mindset, right? Where you feel like you have to withhold yourself from feeling that, expressing that energy, right? Because, it brought in these bad experiences from other people, but it's not something that you're going to necessarily always have to deal with, because once you learn to defend your boundaries and keep yourself and be discerning by listening to your body, to know when those people are coming in, those energies that want to take and just the you know what I mean, like people that just want to be takers and narcissists and energy vampires, things like that. You know now how to suss them out and keep them at bay. And sometimes when you hold the light as well, others really want to come in and sabotage. But it's sort of, it's like magnets, right? Positive and negative are attracted to each other, right? So sometimes that's what's going on. There's an energy charge that is in play there. But I think for you, you're not going to have that issue anymore, because you know how to keep yourself safe from that. You're learning how to wield this energy without putting yourself in harm's way, because you can listen to the right signals. Yeah. Walking away from an old self, an old way of being, into the new. That's how you bring in your wealth and abundance, is by not being fearful of this new side of yourself. Leaning into that. Allowing it to show you the way. So he's kind of following the moon, huh? The moon's over here in the water, and then the moon's here in the water in the distance that he's walking towards. Yeah. So leaving behind those old mindsets is going to bring you a lot of, like, everything. Like, your whole life is ahead of you, where you don't have to feel those restrictions or like you've been withheld from so much, and you deserve to feel happiness. You deserve to feel all of the joy and pleasure that life has to offer. And it's there for you, and you're following it intuitively. You're not following a set path. And he's setting the path himself. He's letting the cups fall behind him rather than following the cups. You know what I mean? So he's on his own path that he's forging himself, even if it doesn't make sense to other people. Yeah. Good job. This is what you need to do. Is just keep following that energy. Keep following that path that makes sense to you, that feels right. Listen always to your soul, what calls to your soul, where you feel at ease, where you feel comfortable and joyful. Where you feel pleasure, that's where you need to go. And that's where you'll find abundance. Okay. I think that we've said all we need to say here, so I'm going to leave the reading there. I hope this was helpful for you. If you like the video, you can like and subscribe or leave a comment if you want to share how it resonated. But other than that, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. All right, take care.